What makes a good roller coaster? To me, a good roller coaster is a ride that's fun, but still manages to enact forces on the body, whether it's negative, positive, lateral, or anything in between. And today, I'm going to be taking all that into consideration and ranking on my top 20 favorite roller coasters. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. At number 20, we have the Legend at Holiday World. I absolutely fell in love with this CCI creation the first time I rode it a couple years ago. Even though its main focus is laterals, I love how it manages to mix up the forces, providing good positive and negative G's as well. It's a decently long ride that travels along the water park and feels secluded from the rest of the park, probably just because it's at Holiday World. Some people have criticized this coaster for being too rough, but I think it's fine, and it's always been one of my favorites at Holiday World, my second favorite at the park. Number 19 is at my home park of Kings Island, and this is their new for 2020 Giga Coaster, Orion. Park yourself in the front row and you'll feel like you're flying. And unlike some other Giga Coasters like Millennium Force, this actually has some good forces. Like flying over the speed hill or the camelback or the twisted airtime hill at the end, you'll get some good negatives. And the Orion's Belt Helix makes me gray out almost every time, especially if you're in the back. The first drop is amazing. It's a bit of a short ride, and that's why I can't rank it any higher, but it's still one of my favorites at the park, and I always try to get a ride every time I go. Staying at Kings Island, number 18, we have Mystic Timbers, a GCI wooden coaster. Unlike most people, this is not my favorite coaster at the park. We'll get to that a little bit later. But Mystic Timbers is still a fantastic ride. It's an absolutely out-of-control experience. It's decently long, and it provides good lateral airtime, which is actually really strong for such a small-scale coaster like this. It's definitely a must-ride at the park, and it definitely belongs in my top 20. At number 17, we have Alpengeist at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. You can already see the hate comments. This is the only invert to make the list. It's also the only Busch Gardens coaster to make the list. Now, we did go to Busch Gardens Williamsburg on a very, very hot day, so everything was running fast. But on this ride especially, every single inversion, I could feel the heel of my shoe coming off. And this ride is just massive. The first drop takes forever. You really feel that speed, and the pacing is very good, especially on my ride where the mid-course didn't slow me down at all. This is definitely a must-ride at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and I would say a must-ride in the state of Virginia and even the country. At number 16, I have the Boss at Six Flags St. Louis. Now, unfortunately, this video that I'm showing is really slow. It was running a lot faster the day that I was there. But the sheer speed of this thing is absolutely insane. It's definitely what I love most about this coaster. But the forces are pretty decent. I know people like Airtime Thrills like to complain about this ride for being forceless, but I think it provided decent laterals and positives. Not to mention it's a very long ride, and it's at least a little bit of a reason to head out to Six Flags St. Louis. At number 15 is my favorite coaster at my home park of Kings Island, and that is Diamondback, the groundbreaking B&M hypercoaster that opened in 2009. This ride does have a little bit of a rattle, but that doesn't really bother me that much because the airtime on this thing's absolutely insane. It throws you up into the air and then slams you back down. It's a little bit painful, but it's a lot of fun. And I've even taught some of my GP friends at the back is really where it's at on this ride. This ride is super fun, it's got a lot of great airtime, it's got decent positives on some of the valleys, but that might just be because of the rattle. This is just a really fun ride. It's my favorite at the park, and it's been like that for a pretty long time. At number 14, I have Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I rode this, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I thought that it was really mild, and that was really my main focus after getting off of it. After a few more rides, I really came to appreciate what this ride does well. Yes, it's tame, yes, the launches are weak, but going through these elements while spinning is just a different feeling. It's really unique, except for Ride to Happiness. And also, the first drop on Time Traveler is the first drop on Time Traveler, and it is the single best element on any coaster, even more than the Outer Bank on Steel Vengeance. It's that good. This is a standout ride in Branson, and you have to ride it if you're in the area. At number 13, we have Magnum XL2 100. It's taken us 7 coasters to get to one at Cedar Point, and there's many more to come. But Magnum is just a spectacular ride. The finale is, well, it's Magnum's finale, but the first half is pretty good too. It's got solid floater airtime, and it's just a really fun ride overall until you get ejected into outer space at the end of it, which is amazing. Amazing. Like, I would love lapping this all day, but it's Cedar Point, so I've got other stuff to do. Anyway, this is a fantastic ride. Definitely a must ride at Cedar Point. Don't skip it. It's always got like a 5-minute wait, so you're not really going to be taking a big chunk out of your time riding it. Also, ride it in the 3rd row. It's insane. You'll go flying. At number 12, we have Intimidator 305. This 2010 Giga Coaster is absolutely insane. Starts off with a bang with that insane turn off the drop, which was the first time I ever experienced an insane gray out. But I think the second half of the ride with all the snapback turns is better. It's just so whippy and insane. Ride's a bit short, but if it were any longer, it might be a little bit hard to take, and I think it's fine as it is. This ride is insane and will probably stay in my top 20 for many years to come. At number 11, we have Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City. This ride may be short, but it certainly packs a punch. It has insane negative and lateral Gs and some of the best elements I've ever seen ever, including the double barrel roll finale and the awesome dive off the hill under the lift hill. This ride also has absolutely spectacular pacing, and I personally think that it's better than Time Traveler. Starting off our top 10, we have Maverick at Cedar Point. Now, if you recall, this used to be my favorite coaster at the park, but now it's down to 3rd. It wowed me just as much as it did the first time. Last time I rode it, I just gained more appreciation for 2 other roller coasters. But anyway, this ride is small but mighty. Your heart will be pounding by the end of it, and it's an adrenaline rush like no other, except for maybe like Dragster or something. The elements on this are absolutely insane. The positives are crazy, laterals crazy, negatives crazy. This ride is just crazy. I'm out of breath just thinking about it. This ride is insane. It's definitely one that you need to ride if you make it over to Cedar Point. It's a fantastic ride. Always been one of my favorites. At number 9, I have Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. Now, not only is this ride a GP magnet, enthusiasts love it too, myself included. This is my favorite B&M Hyper, and I don't really see it losing that title anytime soon. The first drop, the 5-second floater hill, the speed hill, all the camelbacks, even the trimmed ones, pop off the mid-course, the twister section at the end, all of it is just floater airtime bliss. And at the end of this ride, you're just smiling, you got a big grin on your face, and after all, that's what's most important. It's a roller coaster. And something similar can also be said about the next roller coaster on this list. At number 8 is Millennium Force at Cedar Point. Now, most criticisms for this ride being forceless are accurate, but the 3 airtime hills provide pretty good airtime, and the first overbank is pretty intense. I think that as far as roller coasters go, this is the most fun that I've ever had on a roller coaster. And that's really what's most important. Having a good time. This is what I said about Mako. I'm saying it again here. Every time I hit the brake run, I am smiling. And most coaster enthusiasts don't really look at that. They're just like, oh, that ride is forceless. It sucks. No, that's not how I look at rides. I look at rides as, was I happy? Did I like it? And for Millennium Force, I absolutely was. And that's why it's one of my favorites. At number 7, we have Storm Chaser in my home state of Kentucky at Kentucky Kingdom. Now, this is a ride that will leave you speechless by the end. This is definitely the most powerful RMC that I've ever ridden, and I marathoned this thing and I had bruises on my thighs afterwards. That's just how insane this ride is. Every element has some sort of quirk about it that just makes it insane in its own special way. My favorite is the camelback after the barrel roll down drop, but I also love the trick track double up and even the 0G roll because it's got lots of whip. This is just a great ride, and it's one that you can ride over and over again and never get bored. And that's always a good thing, and that's why this is one of my favorite roller coasters. Twisted Timbers is a perfect ride, and that's why it's landing at the number 6 spot, just barely missing the top 5. Every moment on this ride is pure airtime bliss, just like Storm Chaser. But this ride is much longer than Storm Chaser, which is why I'm giving it the edge. The triple camelbacks are my favorite part, but I also love that crazy off-axis airtime hill, the zero-G roll that the train just absolutely flies through, and the wickedly intense and snappy zero-G cutback stall thing. This ride is insane. Every element on it pops, and that's why it belongs really high on this list. Coming in at number 5 is Jurassic World Velocicoaster. I know a lot of enthusiasts throw around the term complete package, but that's definitely the best way to describe this ride. Not only is the layout spectacular with its quirky elements in the first half and the absolutely insane elements in the second half, it has pretty good theming both in the queue and even on ride in the first half of the ride. I absolutely love the stall. This is the first zero-G stall that I've experienced, and it really feels like you're just hanging there forever until you pull out of it. The Mosasaurus roll also definitely lives up to the hype. It's absolutely insane. It's a really weird feeling to turn under yourself over the water. And this is just one of my favorite roller coasters, and it's definitely a reason to make it out to Florida to Islands of Adventure. Definitely recommend it. Number 4 is Lightning Rod at Dollywood. The launch lift hill has been slowed down, but it's still a lot of fun. The wave turn right after the first drop provides some amazing sideways airtime, along with all those twist and shout elements. The quad down is, well, it's the quad down. It's one of the greatest finales of all time. It's up there with Magnum's finale, and it's definitely my favorite part of the ride. This ride is just super fun. After you get off, you're going to be going back around to get back in line and ride it again. It may feel like a short ride, but it's actually not. That's just because the launch lift hill. I can't recommend this ride enough. Words cannot express it. You just have to get out to Dollywood and ride it. Coming in at number 3, we have Fury 325 at Carowinds. If you're in the front row, this has an absolutely amazing sense of speed, but unlike Orion, it actually has really good forces. A lot of these turns have insane positives, and the drop off the treble clef turnaround has insane negatives if you're in the back row. And that drop is just something else. Also better than Orion is the length. This ride feels so much longer, and it feels like such a better experience, and I definitely value length in rides, and you'll definitely see that in the top 3. All in all, I think this ride is an absolutely fantastic Giga Coaster and definitely a must ride if you're in Charlotte. And, just ride it. There's not much else to say about Fury. Just get out there and ride it. Number 2 is Steel Vengeance, and I'm not even going to waste your time by talking about it. The first drop, the top hat, the outer bank, the inversions, the finale, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before. There is just one ride that I enjoy a little bit more, and that coaster is the Voyage at Holiday World. This ride is so long, it's a trek through the woods. It really is a voyage. That's the best way to describe this ride. It has insane forces, both negative, positive, lateral. It mixes all the forces so seamlessly and perfectly. It's such a long and intense ride, and that's what spells out a perfect coaster for me. Long and intense. That's what I look for in a good ride, and that's exactly what the Voyage is. This ride will get your heart pumping, and it'll just make you get right back in line. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it's true. So make sure to get out to Holiday World to ride this thing as soon as possible because it is amazing. Well, there you have it, my top 20 favorite roller coasters. Now, I know for a fact you guys are going to disagree with me, and honestly, just let me hear it. Tell me what your top 20 coasters are in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.